To the latest on the story now, we're joined by Voice of America reporter Mariana Diallo, who is following developments for us on the ground. Mariana, thanks very much indeed for joining us. The death toll is now at 13. I saw that during that press briefing by the Human Rights Commission in Kenya that there was a bit of confusion around exactly where the death toll is. You'll give us some clarity on that. But of course, the number of people who have been injured, particularly yesterday, is exponentially higher than that.
Yes, indeed. Actually, they were pressed about the numbers, and I think at the end, the number that was given was about 23 casualties, across the country. But they were saying those were the numbers that they got basically yesterday during the day until 7 p.m. That today they were going to reevaluate and then, and then update us as to what the final number, the more updated number is.
Mariana, you would have been tracking the story perhaps before even the moment when the protest action turned violent. How do you reckon that change in the protest began yesterday?
Well, it's very strange because I was at the CBD, at the Central Business District, with my team, a cameraman, and other stringers who were there working for other language services. And it was, for most of the time, it was peaceful. I think there was obviously some standoff between the police and the protesters, and protesters will come in showing their hands and shouting that they were peaceful. So obviously, I think most of the day, actually, what the police was trying to do is to keep them away from Parliament. And for the most of the time, it seems like it was successful. But I have to tell you, I actually left the rest of my team there, came back to file, and a few minutes later, somebody, and I actually have to also say that when I was coming back, I actually drove by Parliament to see how it was, if the protesters were able to get there. And at the time, no. So it's not until I got back to work, just getting ready to file, when I was told, oh my God, there are, Parliament has been breached. And then so sure enough, I had to call my driver and go right back just to make sure that we're there and witnessing what's happened. So it was it turned very quickly, certainly not very quickly, but it was surprising.
Yeah, perhaps fertile ground when we're talking about a cost of living crisis and the kind of pressure that Kenyans are under.
Yes, I think, even going back to last year when they had the Mandamano first, it was the protesters, were protesting against a high cost of living. That was one of their main demands. Sure enough, that was driven at the time by opposition, the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga. This time it's different. It's the Gen Zs, they're young, and, they have seen this finance bill of this year. And, from last week, they've been protesting. They've said that a lot of the taxes that were proposed are way too high. I think the government tried to compromise at some point. I think they dropped some of those taxes, including some of those proposed taxes, including the 16% VAT on bread. But that was not enough. I think at the end of the day, they decided that a lot of the protesters actually wanted the whole finance bill to just, to be dropped. So obviously, that didn't happen. The parliamentarians voted yesterday, and I think after that vote came out, things got ugly.
Yeah, William Ruto, the president, likening the protesters to criminals pretending to be peaceful protesters. What did the Human Rights Commission and the protesters who spoke at that briefing earlier today have to say about how he responded?
Well, I think even outside of the briefing today where I was, everybody, a lot of people, most of the Kenyans seem a little bit shocked, actually. I think they were expecting maybe a president to come out to maybe tone things down. A lot of people that I speak to, and including today at the briefing, I think, some of the people just seemed very shocked that the president will utter words like that. One of the participants today was actually a doctor who said that he actually has been protesting with these protesters and that he is not paid by anybody to be on the street. He wakes up in the morning, takes a matatu or a boda or an Uber to attend the protest and help the young kids basically get their voices out. And the rest of the activists who basically were there at the presser today defended the protesters and continue to say that it's their right to get on the street, and that all of them, most of them are blaming President Ruto because it seems like, this started last week. They had demands, but then it seems like those demands, not all of the demands were actually taken care of or taken seriously.
Well, the point is that at no time during a protest of this nature is it excusable, or is it an option, or should it be an option for police to use live rounds on citizens who are protesting against tax hikes?
Well, I think a lot of the participants gave they were absolute and said that there is never a reason. There shouldn't be a reason to use live ammunition. But on the other side, when you talk to other people on the side of Parliament, you have parliamentarians who were inside of Parliament, in session, and that, when they rushed into Parliament, I wasn't there, but some people are saying that, at the time, if they felt like, they were overrun and that maybe they did not know what was going to happen when these people get into Parliament. I mean, I remember this happening when I was in the United States on January 6th, when protesters tried to get into Congress. So, you have both sides. You have some people saying that, maybe they didn't have a choice, but at least at the briefing today, they were all adamant there shouldn't ever be a reason to use live ammunition.
And what's the mood there today, Mariama?
I think it's somber for sure. I think people are probably a little bit tired, because yesterday was all day. A lot of people stayed home. When you drove in the morning, coming to work, for example, there was no traffic. Going back late at night, there was no traffic. But I think it is. I mean, it's shocking because a lot of Kenyans will tell you, oh my gosh, we've never seen something like that happen in this country. I've seen protests since I've been in Kenya. They've gotten rowdy and everything, but for these many people to lose their lives over a finance bill, I think people are taking it very seriously.
Certainly. Mariana Diallo, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. Voice of America reporter giving us a sense of what unfolded on the ground in Kenya just yesterday. 13 people killed. We'll stay with the story at the bottom of the hour and get you some political analysis on what the way forward is.